Welcome, and thank you for joining us for today's webinar, How to Take Control of Your Dealership's Online Reputation and Outshine Your Competition. My name is Eliana Raggio, and I'll be your moderator today. And today's webinar is being presented by DealerOn. And for anyone who isn't familiar with DealerOn, well, we're an award-winning website development company and digital agency, best known for our search engine optimization, best-in-class customer service, and our award-winning websites. DealerOn was named the top-rated website provider by Driving Sales in 2011, and DealerOn customers were winners of the Spring 2012 Digital Dealer Website Excellence Awards. DealerOn is so committed to lead conversion, optimization, and customer service that we're the only company in the industry to offer a lead guarantee program. That's right, a lead guarantee program. So if your website company isn't guaranteeing you leads, then maybe you should check us out at dealeron.com. And we have a great show in store for you today. We are very pleased to have Dennis Colomi as our presenter today. Dennis Colomi is Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Xterra's Auto, the leading search asset management provider combining the #1 rated SEO and online reputation management solutions for dealerships. Colomi started selling cars in 1976 and spent 14 years running his own dealership before consulting dealerships. He's widely recognized as one of the country's top dealership trainers and a pioneer in helping auto retailers adapt their businesses to meet the needs of the ever-evolving Internet customer. With nearly 3 decades of industry experience, his career spans positions at Auto Bytel, Ismo Cars, Half a Car Group, and Reynolds & Reynolds prior to joining Xterra's Auto. Now, during the presentation, if you have any questions, please use the question feature. It's located on the corner of your screen, and you'll submit them and they'll come directly to me. At the end of the presentation, we're going to answer those questions of general interest. If we're unable to get to your question live, don't worry, we're going to respond by email later today. Also, don't forget, a link to download a copy of today's webinar recording is going to be emailed to you later today for your reference, and please feel free to share it with friends and colleagues. And guess what? Our good friends at Google are going to be offering up some prizes today for you, our dear attendees. All you have to do is answer a few simple questions. At the conclusion of the webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. So fill it out, because we're always looking for quality feedback from our audience. And today we're going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to get some Google swag. And you also want to pay attention too, because I do believe our presenter is going to be giving away a few interesting prizes as well. But we're going to get to that a little bit later. For right now, we're going to get started and we're going to learn what we need to do to take control of our online reputation. And before we do that, we're going to say hi to our presenter. Dennis, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Eliana, and thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the great radio voice. I love it. Welcome, everybody, and thanks for attending and taking time out of your busy day to be part of this. I certainly appreciate the time that you spend, and hopefully we can supply you with some valuable tips and educational tools to get more reviews, and there'll be a little bit of interactivity into the presentation, too. I think we'll have a lot of fun with that today. The objective, obviously, is to take control of your online reputation. It's becoming more and more important to us all the time, and to use what principles and aspects that we learned today to engage sales, service, parts, and if you have a body shop, to get reviews and help create that culture in your dealership. So, again, thanks for spending the time, and I hope this becomes informative. The objectives that I have set for us today is, number one, have fun. You take your time out of your day. You want to learn something and take it back, but at the same time, it should be enjoyable, so hopefully you'll enjoy some of this presentation, and there is some interactivity here. And two, we want you to ask questions when they come up. So if you have something, engage the chat feature, and we'll try to have some period of time when we can bring out and discuss those in open with Ileana's help on that part. And we want to think about how you can apply what you learned today. We do have a couple of giveaways at the end. If you can take some notes and say, this is what I picked up, and this is what I'm going to do at my dealership today. At the end of the presentation, we'll take a couple of volunteers and kind of engage with that towards the end of the presentation. So at the end of the day, I've been in the car business my whole life. I love you guys, and if there's something I can do to bring some tips and some help your way, it becomes helpful. And please reach out to me in any way if there's any way that I can help you resolve some issues. Or we have, obviously, we're very close to the people at Google, Places, Pages, and review questions. If you have a particular problem, we'll reach out and see if there's something we can do to offer some assistance. So I wanted to take a second and kind of talk about the makeup of the customers. When you talk about the reviews and the aspect of what people are doing, we've got to break all of our customers into three categories. And so the first category is 10%, and those are the people we live and die for, but about 10% of our customers are sometimes referred to as laydowns, the nicest people in the world. They're great. They love our cars. They love our prices. They'll pay the addendum sticker, and those are the people that we hope to find when we wake up and come to work. No matter what we do, we're not going to change 20% of our people, and they're nasty, they're antagonistic, they're negative. They just have a chip on their shoulder, and that's part of the human nature. And the other part is the 70% of the customers. So, we've always seen this in the car business, but it really applies to a lot of other industries, and that's part of what happens. Let's dive a little deeper into their behavior patterns. So the 20%er, we always talk about them, we always think about them, but their moms told them that they were ugly. They don't want to take a test drive when they go in and do that. They grind us to death. They beat us up. And we don't make any money off of them. They demoralize us. They want us to get out of the business. And the next day they come back to the dealership and they want to tell the service of the parts manager, we promise them this letter formats. And then when they get the survey, they kill us on CSI. So in a perfect world, if we could take some kind of rubber stamp or permanent tattoo and put jerk on their forehead, so the next time they walk into our dealership or someone else's dealership, we just avoid doing business with them, it would be perfect. But unfortunately, that can't happen. But that is part of the human nature. So guys, these people are part of a subculture that have found ways to get back at us and get into these review sites. And of course, one of the review sites that breeds some of the highest form of negativity would be the Yelp sites. They typically score tremendously more difficult than any of the others. But there is a subculture, and we're going to talk about some of the aspects of these people here in a second. Then there's the 10%ers, and we wake up every day hoping to find one of them. They pay our asking price, and oftentimes the addendum stickers. We make all the money that we possibly can on them. They're the happiest people you'll ever find. And then they come in the next day and send us a thank you card. They bring us a bottle of wine, a plate of pasta, cookies, something like that. We changed their lives forever, and they're thankful of the experience that we gave them. And, of course, that's what keeps us going and always has and makes a difference to us in our lives. And then there's the 70%ers. And unfortunately, they don't want to spend a lot of time in the dealership, and they're looking for a fair deal. They're generally pretty happy people, and they're happy with the car, and they like you. And for the most part, they'll tell their friends and their coworkers about, hey, I got a new car, this guy's great, you got to give them a call. But they don't typically have the avenue or the road to go and boast about the business unless you specifically ask for it. So the part of the motivation that we have is that the 10%ers are going to give you a positive experience, and we know the 20%ers are going to give us negative. We've got to motivate the 10 and the 70s to get us those reviews, and that's part of the process that we're going to share with you what we've done and show you some business cases that are certainly there for us. And of course, you think about where's the phone book in your home, and that I know the people on this line are generally the people who are cutting edge, and you guys are the best in the industry because you keep wanting to learn more, and you're probably doing the best already. But some of you are probably saying, "What's a phone book?" But the phone book fits your home. Just like the encyclopedia salesman, they're no longer existent. They just fade away. But you ask that question. You say, "Where's your phone book?" And it's not. Most of you say, "Where is it?" I don't know what it is. But most people don't know anymore. And when you want something, you Google it, and that's part of the aspect. There's over 2 billion people online, and there are 13.5 billion searches conducted in the U.S. So there's a huge influence on Google. To kind of give you some of the numbers, that 93% of the car buyers use the Internet to search for their vehicle, and 86% of fixed-stop shoppers use that as well. You notice that it's the first PowerPoint in 3D. You see how that wheel sort of comes out at you? So it's a 3D. You guys are witnessing this for the first time. So, the other part of the review process is 76% of the car buyers read reviews. So this is about more than double, I think, what it was a year ago. So it's becoming more and more predominant. And unfortunately, most of the review sites take them away from your website, and the only way to interact with you is through telephone, which we'll get into a little bit later. But 76% of the people are reading reviews when it comes to car buyers, and of course the bigger the ticket item, the more likely that's going to take place. And 92% of luxury buyers will read reviews, so it's synonymous with the big ticket items there. So the more expensive the vehicle, the more likely the behavioral pattern is for people to say, what have other people experienced before me in that process? One of the big things that takes place here is 45% of the buyers will make a decision based on reviews. So you're talking almost half, guys, will look at the reviews and say, wow, this dealership over this dealership, it makes a dramatic difference. And 21% will change their mind. So if a person had convinced themselves they wanted to do business with you, maybe they went home after visiting a dealership and did an online search and found out that there's bad reviews, they will physically change their mind and go somewhere else. So pretty powerful aspect. And then we talked about 1 to 5. I don't know if this is a good time to do a poll question, but Eliana, do you want to do one real quick?
I will absolutely do one if you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're going to go with the first poll question. Guess what, everyone? It's time already. We need you to check out your screen. Please look at your screen and answer our poll question, because Dennis needs to know some more information before he moves forward. So we wanted to know, have you ever been a victim of unscrupulous online review tactics? Now, a lot of us have been there, so if you have, there's no shame in it. Now, for this question, you can answer all that apply. So, were you possibly a victim of an online review, a bad review that was written by a competitor? You're sure it was written by a competitor? Or yes, by an unreasonable customer. Maybe they came to you and said, look, either you give this to me or I'm going to go online and I'm going to write a bad review. You know, so they kind of blackmailed you, right? Or maybe it was a customer who was offered an incentive to write a bad review about you by, you know, a competitor of yours, which I think is absolutely horrifying. Or maybe you haven't been a victim whatsoever. And then in that instance, you just check the last one. No, I've never been a victim. So once we get oh wow, almost everyone's already voted. Fabulous! I love you guys. See, I told you, Dennis, my people, they get involved. Okay, so what we're going to do, a couple more votes are coming in. What we're going to do is close the poll and share the results. So the overall winner on this one, 68% of our attendees today said, yes, it was by an unreasonable customer who just, you know, basically blackmailed them. Now, Dennis, do you think that is surprising?
No, you know, it's really unfortunate, but, you know, there's some people that you can't make happy, or maybe it's someone that came in on the service drive and they were out of warranty, or they never changed their oil, and as a result that, you know, they had a very expensive claim. And these people don't give up. They go to multiple places and unscrupulously take that away. I wanted to add something to the group I think that's informative, is that we actually have a service in our company that we actually chip away and remove about 30% of the negative reviews, regardless of the review site. So they can be taken down, and there are ways to dispute them. And sometimes you have to dispute them once and twice and 3 times over a period of time, but we're successful at eliminating at least 30% of those negative reviews. But it's not fair. But again, that's part of that subculture of the 20%. The part that's really, really getting dicey out there is because it means so much to influence the consumers. There's dealers in some markets, and I don't know if anybody answered that St. Louis in particular, where a Honda dealership was offering customers $50 off on their car if they wrote a bad review on the spot about one of their competitors.
That's horrible. Yes, actually 14% of today's attendees responded that yes, it was by a customer who was offered an incentive by a competitor. 14%. I was hoping that was going to be 0, because I think that is horrible. Yes, we're all competitors, but we're all still an auto family. I mean, we all do the same thing, and I just think that's appalling behavior for any dealership to do. So I'm kind of surprised that number was even that high.
Well, and you know, the difficulty and some of the changes in the review sites, like what Google's doing to require a Gmail account, and they want your birthday, and they want, you know, your other email account, and they want to test the behavior. There's a big quest towards legitimacy on this process and having the review sites do that. And I think there actually because there's about 47 different review sites, there may be some consolidation coming into the market sometime in the near future. So we look at all the review sites. There's a clutter of these things out there. And a lot of us now have made a pendulum switch from one that we may have focused on before to a second one. And we'll kind of talk about that a little bit, but it's important to spread the reviews out for a variety of different reasons. Obviously, one of the biggest impacts you'll have is with the Google reviews. The number one source for reviews that will impact your SEO placement, your organic placement, and your places pages will be the number of reviews that you have. But Google also considers another group of sites that are out there, credible sites. For example, Google gives greater credibility to profiles like Superpages and Kudzu and Edmunds, which are validated information sites that have a high number of unique visitors that do that, because they're not just associated with something in the car business, they're associated with all businesses, and they may have their data or records coming from the phone book. So Google gives them credibility, so it is important to continue to use a variety of the most popular sites out there. Many of our dealers have engaged and involved with a practice that devoted a lot of attention to them in the past, like DealerRater, which is a wonderful company, but DealerRater only has about 17,000 unique visitors on a monthly basis, where Google has over 1 billion. So you don't want to focus in an area where your customers are not. That certainly is part of the influence, and it is important to attempt to spread the reviews out at the most desirable type of sites that are out there. So we're talking about getting bad reviews. You know, we get bad reviews from a variety of different places, and they can be pretty damaging to our business. Some of it is the reality. It's just going to happen, and it's believable when you have a 1 or 2 star mixed in with a bunch of positives. But just like that ratio is, if you can get the positive people who have those experiences with you to do it, you'll overshadow today's behavioral patterns with just those 20%ers have engaged in writing those review process to get negativity. And us in our own business, I mean, we're so close to it because we're in the car business. But think about, you know, you have a toothache, or you move into a new area and you're going to search for a dentist. Are you going to want to get one that has 1 Google review, or that has a horrible score, or you know, has some tough stuff, or you're going to want to have your dental work done? If you have a tooth pulled or wisdom tooth or something of that nature, you're going to want to go somewhere critical. We've all engaged into the restaurant field, and more of us are starting to get involved into Googling and being involved in restaurants to see where, you know, which one has the best in the area that I'm in. And of course, the hotels, I stay in hotels practically 220 nights out of the year. I'm very focused on the reviews of people saying, because the last thing you want to do is bring home a batch of bed bugs and have a whole other experience in life. But we, as people in the industry, need to get involved and understand what the customers have to go through, so we emulate and walk through that. So we'll give you a laundry list of some things we do to help our salespeople and the people to dealership understand that cultural change and get into it. Wanted to walk through a couple of sections on the pay-per-click and what takes place today. So all of us know there's really what we call 3 sections of search on the Google site. The first section is the pay-per-click, and that little shaded area where the top 3 dealers are located is often predominantly at the top of the page. It's important to know that about 95% of the searches don't result in a single click there. Over the course of time, most of us have been conditioned to realize that's not the most relevant place for traffic, and those have been big box series or paid ads, so we don't go there. And on the right-hand side, Google's always focused on filling the pay-per-click section of it. Even fewer people go off to the right-hand side over there as well. So they're going through some changes with Google. You'll notice here on this screen is that a more direct search would show a pay-per-click at the top, but on the right-hand side, it's vaporized. It actually shows up down at the bottom of the page, which makes more sense, actually. If a person scrolls down to the bottom and hasn't found what they want, they're more likely maybe to spot some pay-per-click on to the bottom of the page. So you're going to start to see some transitions in the way that Google frames up that pay-per-click. And the next section that comes up, and not necessarily on the top, sometimes you have organic or places pages first, is where people are identifying which place to do business. And this is where we're measured by a group of our peers in the marketplace. And we're going to go in and take a look at a couple of volunteers here, or one volunteer, and look at their presence online. So be prepared to tell us a couple things, and we'll go live Google here in a second and show an example. But you know, obviously the places pages is where it's becoming a little smarter. So when Google thinks that you're looking for a business or transactional, it's going to serve you up places, and the wider cast you have on the net or the search terms that you use in the top, the more likely you're going to have more choices. And the more choices, the more it's going to be the people who have reviews are going to get the business versus the one that don't. It's a very dramatic difference between the haves and the have-nots here. And then, of course, the last section, not necessarily underneath that, but is the organic. And typically you want to have what we call a trifecta, which is show up number one in organic, number one in places, and number one in organic again. That's the objective, obviously, if we can get your websites to yield the highest positions across the board. So a couple of things we're doing. We're looking for a volunteer that would come in, and we talk about inspecting your dealership and find out how you show up against your competitors for parts, service, and sales, and take a deeper look at the places pages. Compare yourself to an outstanding store. So let me just get a volunteer from the group that would type something in and say, what franchise and what city are you in? We're going to do a Google search and see what shows up here. So give me a franchise and a city, followed by the dealership's URL.
Okay, we have a brave soul who already came in. He came in early. He's a Nissan dealership in Baltimore. And since you know who you are, if you could write in and tell me the name of your dealership. I won't say it until Dennis tells me to say it.
I know some Nissan dealerships out there. There's
oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, he has written back in. He's written back in, so now I know the name of his dealership. So tell me what you see.
So when we first do the pay-per-click section and we do the research, and I have Vienna, Virginia out there coincidentally as a search term because I was doing some work for them earlier, and the number one store comes up with Antwerpen, and I get a total of 10 reviews out of 30. Now that's a very large store. I'm going to guess that they had some major places pages issues because I'm only seeing 11 total Google reviews with the low score. So they might be a victim of one of the most recent experiences that took place with the places issues. And let me scroll up and kind of do the behavioral pattern where the big comparisons start to take place. So the good news is if it is Antwerpen, they show up on the top with a number of reviews, but then we have Bob Bell shows up first organically, and then Jones Junction, and then Morris Nissan. So we obviously have a very competitive Nationwide Auto, and then Nationwide Nissan, and then Edmunds, and of course Cars.com. So let me do what's starting to take place. More and more people are recognizing that places becomes a stronger comparison between this and other franchises and other brands, and Google casts a bigger net so that you can have a wider view of the comparisons. So typically, the dealership with the most reviews and the highest score is the one located at the very top of the page. So which dealership was it, Eliana?
Well, I am pleased to say that it was Bob Bell Nissan, and our friend Bruce Hart, brave soul that he is, offered them up for your dissection. And he also writes in, our places page went south only 1 week ago.
Wow. Wow, yeah.
But I think he's doing pretty good. I mean, look at him. He's got a number of good reviews. He's got a good score. And he did show up in the B position on the original page, and he showed up number 1 for organic on the original SERP page.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it certainly is a big challenge, and I'm sure you'll know from the aspect when those reviews go south and they make changes to it in the marketplace, it's pretty dramatic on that side, and we certainly know what does happen and can happen to you. So, you take a look at the places pages for the dealership, and we know that when the 28 reviews are there, the behavioral pattern of people is oftentimes to click on those 28 reviews. Of course, it's going to dive in. That's my mystery shop email address, and then I go in a little further and get a view of the dealership. So one of the things I'll tell about your dealership is that the Google listings and the categories that are coming up on the screen, generally you pop those in as the first 5 categories. Well, Google assumes when that's the first thing that says there's a used car dealer that you might just be a used car dealer. So it's obvious you're not, but you may want to switch those categories so that Nissan becomes the first one across the board. But you have great pictures, some interactivity. It looks like you have some community events. People are in the pictures, which is good. Your score is 25 reviews, 28 out of 30, which is wonderful. And there's one more thing I want to help you here with. See this term that says most helpful? You want to be cognizant of the fact that your competitors could actually identify a negative review to be helpful, and that will be the first one on the page. So we want to be careful. For an example, it's defaulting to most helpful for me. This is a new thing, so if I go to latest, it's going to change that behavioral pattern to get a positive review. If I go to a high score, I'm going to do that. But if I go back to latest, it's going to kind of give that a different thing. So let me just do most helpful, and I've got it keeps changing the behavioral patterns there. But you want to be cognizant of the fact that negative reviews that are older can still show up if somebody marks them helpful onto that page. So you want to kind of watch that setup. So
I know, I was thinking that maybe if the very last review you got was maybe not such a flattering one, you should hurry up and get 1 or 2 other people, hopefully, maybe somebody who's very pleased with the service at the dealership, or, somebody who always comes to the dealership, get them to write a positive review as soon as possible and just push that bad one down a little bit.
Yeah, if I had just right now, because that's where it's defaulting, just for the sake of training, if I say this one here was helpful, then in a very short period of time, that will push the other one down and sort of make those changes. So take a look at your places pages and make sure that somebody's not sabotaging you guys. I'm going to do some changes around here a little bit and go to most helpful and see how quickly that it takes place. But this will change and push itself back down here in just a little bit to give you an idea. So, since we're in Nissan stores, I'll probably do a quick Google search to give you an idea of one of our stores that is great best practices. Let me just pull up a quick Google search and get back into the presentation. So I'll do Nissan dealerships.
Mm-hmm. And by the way, Bruce, I do want to thank you for letting us put you under the microscope. That was very brave of you.
Eliana, why don't you fax him 100?
What?
Fax him 100?
Fax him 100?
Yeah. Never mind. We'll get back into it. So just a click you see underneath the pay-per-click of Dick Smith Nissan, they pretty much own the page. There's a little bit of competition, but they've had a couple of Nissan stores in Columbia. A little over a year ago, they had 0 Google reviews, and so their numbers are pretty high and their scores are high. But they'll generally own the page when it comes to having a pretty dominant presence. And you notice that the people chipping away at them is Motor Trend and Edmunds.com, but for the most part, they have a pretty dominant presence, Automobile Magazine, Cars.com. So the big boys are competing against them. And, of course, if I get into places for them, all of their franchises that have relatively high scores in the marketplace dominate the screen, and that's where you tend to do the comparative shopping. If I look at the other dealerships in the market, they really don't have a clue. Their most competitive Nissan dealership under the places section is Orangeburg Nissan, and when I look at their places pages, I doubt the weather looks like that in South Carolina today. But anyway, we get an idea of that. I want to get back to the PowerPoint so we can sort of move on to that from that standpoint. One of the things that's helpful for us in getting the people motivated to get results is to say what's in it for them. Our average dealership gets about 400 plus phone calls a month as a result of us expanding an 800 number on the sales, service, and parts side. So it certainly can generate a high degree of phone calls because they can't email you, they can't look at the inventory. But many of us, if they do the call tracking on the phone numbers, will at least have numbers to contact them and create further business for us. And some of our dealers are getting $2,100 phone calls on a monthly basis. We've actually done research to track what those sales are attributing to sales, and it's exorbitant as far as profit dollars coming off of that or revenue that does come from it. So high reviews will breed a great deal of phone calls, and most importantly, we try to teach our salespeople that our customers will read reviews and specifically come in, ask for them, and bypass other people to store. So we physically have been involved in training people at the dealership and say what's in it for them. It's for their career. It helps them in case a salesman has to leave Columbia, South Carolina and move his family to San Diego. He could go to another Nissan dealership and say, please Google my name next to the dealership and find out what they're saying about me, and they'd have a great opportunity to get a job over somebody that doesn't. So it's a tremendous thing about building your career and building up your reputation as well as helping the dealership at the same time. So salespeople won't do it. Parts counter people won't do it unless they know what's in it for them. We solicit comments from some of our people. This is one from Stephen at Crown Audi. He had just finished an experience with a customer and had written us an email saying how great that this process was because he had a customer that was on the fence and went through the interview process. We're going to go home and think about it. They Googled him and they said, we feel confident in our decision based on what we read. So more and more times you're there. And I just may want to say, ask anybody out there is, how many of you have received sales because people read a review and bypassed everyone else and came in to see you? So kind of throwing you for a curve there, Leona. But.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. You know, before when we did the first poll question, and 68% of the people on this webinar said that they got strong-armed by a customer who said, if you don't give it to me, I'm going to write you a bad review. They know it's powerful. They're customers. They read the reviews, and they know they have a bargaining chip, and they're not afraid to use it. They may be unreasonable, but they know how strongly influential those online customer reviews are. They expect, if you're going to have testimonials up on your own website, that they're all going to be good, of course. But when it's a website like, you know, Google Places, anyone can go and look on there. And so, you know, they're using that leverage because they know it's important. And just like every one of us, we've all done it. I wouldn't go on a vacation until I read the reviews at a certain place. I won't even buy a stroller for my kid or a car seat for my kid until I read the reviews. And that's not even a large ticket item, but it's important. And if I'm doing it, I know everyone else is doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know, that's when if you identify those people, you want to get your tattoo artist in the store or get the rubber stamp out there so you can identify them, who they are, and so they'll come back. They do have a tendency to go to multiple sites, and because sometimes the same person will go on multiple sites and write the bad reviews, you have to be cognizant. We want to say once we do identify for any reason a person is negative, you want to immediately bubble that up to management and allow us the opportunity to turn it around before it comes viral. So one of the things that we do when we encourage people to ask for reviews, people will get reviews based on it being personal, something personable in nature. So I can't put my arms around your entire dealership, but what I can do is I can say something that my salesman did for me that I really appreciated. I appreciate the interaction. You know, when people physically do buy a car from us, they rate us very high, and you know, reputation and rapport and trust and all the rest of that kind of stuff. There's a very positive feeling about buying a car. So we always say to the salesperson and said, Mr. Jones, thank you so much for getting my car. You know, I'm working so hard here at Bell Nissan to try to build up my career and do the best at this dealership, and getting comments from customers that are satisfied means everything in the world to me and my family here at the dealership. Could could you do me a favor? If I sent you an email, and in that email would be a link to 1 or 2 or 3 of the review sites, would you be willing to write a review and say something good about the service I provided to you? And, you know, you can always mention a factory survey that takes care of the dealership or takes care of the factory, but this is something you do for me. And you watch the behavioral patterns of the customer and do it. But you want to say it with empathy. You want to almost look like that little kitten that you can't say no to that sits on the screen, because the likelihood that people will respond to you personally is significantly greater than saying something from the dealership, not to mention the fact that you personally want your name recognized into the reviews so that you have a viral aspect for your career and for the fact that people read about you and coming and asking for you there. So best practices, you know, this Nissan dealership has over 2,000 reviews in a little over a year. It was July 14th we started with them. They only had 2 reviews. Now they have over 2,000 through all the different sources. And, you know, we created a form, and you guys can do this yourself if you want, but you put in the name and the email address of the customer, and you drop out the templates, and there's a template we have for sold customers and for if we didn't sell them but had a good experience in service and parts and CSI and body shop. And in that template is a built-in aspect with 3 links. Now, a unique part of what we do is that we have a rolling code that adjusts the second 2 links to sites that are where we need help. So if we just had a person gave us a 0 rating or a 1-star rating at Insider Pages, that will automatically come up to counterbalance and spread the reviews out to credibility. And the reason, guys, we have to give customer choices is because not all of them have Gmail accounts or willing to sign up with one. So if they don't, you have to give them choices in there. And we also have built in a link that you can't really see it here. There's a link to a landing page. So in this case, we give customers the ability to go to multiple places where they have the ability to click in, you know, that. So if you sell a car to your mom or your dad or your best friend or your wife, theoretically, you could say go to all 9 of those sites and give me a cut and paste review at all of them, because the negative customers will do that. Why not encourage that from the standpoint? So, you know, again, I mentioned as a result, as I did a screenshot here a couple of days ago, we score 3 different scores at the dealership, and I know it might be difficult for some of you to read, but over 2,000 total reviews. Their score is almost unbelievable at 100% positive. They have a separate score now by City Search, because City Search gives you a thumbs up or thumbs down. And then, of course, your Google score is separate from star ratings. And then, of course, we measure and monetize the performance of spreading those reviews out. In a perfect world, you'll continue to have the reviews at Insider Pages and Kudzu and Edmunds and so on and so forth, and monetize your scores across the board. But this kind of shows from the inception, guys, it doesn't take much, but if you train the people, you make it easy for them to be able to do that. You say what's in it for them on a career side, you'll see that the reviews can grow exponentially, and it's not just for sales. Parts and service can get engaged in that, which we'll talk about a little bit later. So I know a lot of you have, as a matter of fact, I'm going to go pull question number 2. I think that's probably good timing for that. Elliot, you want to try one here?
I think that's a great idea. Okay, everyone, guess what? We really need your help again. We have another poll question we want your feedback on. And if you look at your screen, you'll see it up there right now. So the question is, what kind of problems, if any, have you ever encountered with your Google Places page? Now, for this one, again, you can select as many as apply. So you can actually select more than one answer. But the most popular ones that we've been hearing about, right, Dennis, is that maybe your positive reviews get removed or they just completely disappear. Or maybe your Google Places page isn't showing up in searches, or the entire listing just gets poof, gone. No idea, lost in cyberspace. Or maybe your Google Places page gets hijacked by another business. Maybe you didn't claim it soon enough, something like that. Or maybe you are just one lucky guy and you don't have any problems with your Google Places page. So let us know what's going on in your world. We're always curious. And just so you know, I have been in touch with the people over at Google. And I told them we have a lot of dealers who want to know more about Google Places and how they can influence their their scoring on there, and you know, all the cool things that Google Places can do for them, and when are we going to hear about that? So they have actually told me there is some more changes coming down the pipeline for Google Places, and once those changes finally take effect, which I believe they said was going to be early 2013, then they will gladly come onto a Dealer On webinar and give us a webinar just on Google Places pages. So I want you to know that's in the works. Figure early 2013 for that. But for right now, we are going to close the poll and share the results. So if you look at your screen, you'll notice that 40% of you said positive reviews were getting removed or just completely disappearing. 44% of our attendees today said they're not showing up high enough in the searches or their listing got removed. Only 4% of them said their page got hijacked by another business. And 28% of you today said your Google Places page is just fine. So I'm glad for that. And Dennis, are you surprised by that? Our overall result is that 44%, that's nearly half. They're not showing up in the searches or their listing got removed.
The silver lining in that is, of course, that people haven't had their places hijacked. Here's one of our clients, Lou Fuse Toyota, and in their Toyota dealership, which is relatively large, they have a Hertz franchise, and Hertz franchise has the same address as the Toyota store. So unfortunately, here's a big Toyota store under their places pages with 269 reviews, but all of those 269 reviews are reverted over to Hertz. So again, those are some of the issues that have recently happened, and we try to protect our dealers the best we can, but it's been a little frustrating on that side. So thanks for the answers on the poll question. So a couple other things we want to talk about reviews. You know, some people have talked about putting kiosks in the stores. Some people have engaged in putting an iPad station. We have a group of dealers we work with Texas and Arizona that instituted across-the-board process of putting an iPad station in the dealership and put a little sign up like this. And over a period of time, unfortunately, the kids' play center gets put in front of it, and it becomes a non-issue. There's positives and negatives with putting in stations like this or iPad stations to get reviews, and we kind of wanted to share the pros and cons of that. The customers, after being in the dealership for a long period of time, they're sometimes tired and hungry. You know, to deliver a car, it can take anywhere from 1 to 4 hours, and that becomes a little challenging. There's a blower here blowing stuff next to the car. And they really haven't purchased a car yet. At this particular dealership, we had an individual that the process was he saw about 380 new cars a month, and they were going to walk the customers after they said, I'll take it, and before they went through the F&I process into doing that. And the percentage of reviews that they actually got was very, very small. Out of forcing that issue to become part of it, they could only get about 60 people through parts, service, and sales out of 380 new cars a month to write a review upgrade for the dealership. And some of those people recanted after they went home because the final end experience wasn't there. But if you put yourself in a customer's position, you know, you're kind of putting them on the spot. Some people aren't willing to do a Gmail account. They have to log in with their password onto your system and do it. It's potentially dangerous if you're using other review sites. So Google doesn't care if you have an iPad station in the car, or a Google station, I should say. But what they do care about is if the people don't have a Gmail account, then they could go to another review site that is tracking the IPs. And of course, you can counterbalance that by saying I put on the G network so that it only goes wireless, and that is an alternative as long as somebody doesn't switch it. But certainly put yourself into that setup. You know, it's maybe not the most appropriate situation to putting that, and you know, really it says you're putting them on the spot twice because it really can be somewhat intimidating in that process. So some people have been successful at it, some haven't. Some people are going to the aspect of developing QR codes and having tags or business cards or things in the dealership. And, you know, that's a little dicey, too, because the scores of people who are just devoting their time and attention to QR codes are typically lower because there's somebody in the store and for whatever reason they're mad because they have a smudge on their floor mats or because they have a ding that they thought you did in the service department well, they're going to go put nasty things on there because they found a way to go about it when they didn't think about review sites in the first place. So you can't necessarily control and drive the positive behaviors on that. You get mixed results at that, but that is sort of an avenue to do. So we recommend some things to your staff. Number one, when you train them on what's in it for you, getting business, building your career, doing the right thing for your dealership, and reducing the cost of advertising, and it's a cultural change. We recommend that salespeople in the dealership set up a Google alert of their name. And if they have a common name like Jose Gonzalez, then it would be Jose Gonzalez at Bell Nissan. So that the three combined, anytime those words show up, they get sent an idea about what reviews are set up, and they get more encouraged about what they see. We also know that you want them to emulate the process so that they understand and can walk a customer through it, whether it's a family member that bought a car or whether it's a client that says, I tried and I couldn't do it. So sit them down and say, let's show you how to sign up for a Gmail account today and what it is to go rate restaurants and businesses and hotels or things that you do in your community. Those things together, if they're done appropriately, will help them understand and walk the customer through in that process. And kind of say from a sales department is to go after the people that you've sold a car that are your raving fans, go after a series of customers that you didn't sell a car to but that have had a pleasant experience with you, and any of the customers that have written you very positive CSIs and stuff in the past. Don't recommend sending a broadcast email to try to do that, but again, what we found is that if you send the email with the links, and if it's done appropriately, about 30% of those people will write a review for you. And be patient, because a person buys a car today, and it's a Friday, they're going to go home, and they may not get to their personal emails or get around to doing this for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, but about 30% of those emails sent will come back and generate a review, and most of those, of course, will be all a 5-star.
30%'s a lot. That's great.
Yeah, but it's up to the people to stay up with it too. Again, you want to motivate them, you want to get them excited. Best practices, of course, is just to compensate the salespeople and parts and service people the same. And for every positive review they get, give them a little something, $10 or $15. Some dealerships have incorporated not only an incentive but a penalty if they don't get at least one quarter or one whatever. They're not entitled to the certain stair-step bonuses. So those are things that are options to engage with out there. Service department, you have several things out there, and who's the best person? Is it the service writer, the service manager, is it the cashier? But who is going to have some kind of an interface with the customer and say, it would really help us out, it would help me out. And if it's tied to a person's career at a dealership, you're more likely to get the person to write the review, because it's something about them, something they can say about the experience they had that makes a difference. And parts, you've got a couple of different things going on in parts. You have your over-the-counter people, and you also have your wholesale accounts. So we've had wholesale parts managers doing business with the body shop down the street, and they say, listen, I looked at your Google pages and it looks horrible. I'll do you a favor. I'll write you a positive review if you might write me one about, dealing with us and the experience that we have in our company. So everyone can really be included in that. We've even engaged the general managers of the store to say, I don't have the direct interaction or responsibility of the customers, but the vendors who are selling me stuff, I'm going to ask them to write a review about the experience we had. So it's, everybody can get behind that culture, and you watch what kind of an influence it does at the dealership. So we'll caution you on a couple things. Don't write fake reviews, guys. There's more and more activity tied into trying to watch the behavioral pattern. There are companies out there that generated reviews or did fake Gmail accounts and reviewed different things, and that's partly why all these reviews are being yanked, because the legitimacy and the validity of these reviews has to do with the data, and I think Google is sort of cleansing and trying to analyze everything that's out there to make it right. Don't enter reviews for a customer. That's just not the right way to do it. And then don't post a bad review about a competitor. We talked about that. So some of the review sites can track the IP address and will recognize that and call foul. Google, of course, is not one of those because they can trace you based on your IP address you have it. So we can do one more poll question if we have a third one, and then I was going to ask for 2 volunteers in the room to sort of say what did you learn that you can apply to your, and then we'll open that up for questions later. So let's open the poll.
Let's get to it. Okay, so we've launched the very last poll question. So for this one, we just need you to look at your screen and tell us. Now, we know you came here looking for some kind of information about online reputation management. So tell us what it is. Were you looking for specific help, like getting Google reviews, or maybe you have too many negative reviews? Maybe you need help resolving Google Places or review issues. Maybe you just need a strategy going forward and you wanted to know, or maybe you're just beginning, or maybe you are one of those people who just, oh my gosh, you have so much negative online press that you just need help all around. And that's fine too. Either way, it's an anonymous vote. No one's going to know, but we want to know what's going on in your world. So we have a lot of votes coming in, Dennis. So just sit tight because they're still coming in. And once we get those answers, we're going to close the poll, share the results. We're going to go over, give out a couple prizes, hopefully, to some people who are paying attention. And then we're going to go over to question and answer time. So okay, almost everyone's voted. That's good. Oh, there we go. Okay, we're going to close the poll and share the results. With almost everyone voting, we have an even 48% of people who want help resolving Google Places or review issues, and they're looking also for a strategy going forward. 43% of our attendees wanted to know how to get more Google reviews, so hopefully Dennis helped you out with that. And we got 14% of people who says they just have too many negative reviews. Completely understandable, and there is a way to get around that. So I'll turn it back over to you. How's that?
Sure. So I don't know if you can see that little car at the bottom of the screen. It's a friend of mine started a company called Road Mice, and they actually, unlike wireless computer mice, is in the shape of cars with little headlights and stuff, so they're pretty clever. Neat little devices, and we want to send one certainly to someone at Bell Nissan for participating in the first part, but we're going to give 2 more away. We just want to hear from 1 or 2 people saying, what did you learn today that you can apply to the dealership? Because at the end of the day, we want to make sure that we're bringing value and trying to help you guys do what you need to do. So you getting any data back there?
People are typing in right now. Oh, and by the way, I do want to mention that our volunteer from earlier, Bruce from Bell Nissan, you will automatically win one of these road mice, correct?
Yeah, correct. We just need to have an address to send it to them. Of course, it's not tough. It's Bruce at Bell. Unless there's 2 of them, we don't want to give it to them.
True. So we'll get to that. So all you have to do is tell us something that you learned today that you can learn or that you can use immediately at your dealership. So something actionable. And Bruce, you don't have to write in, okay? Okay, well, we have a lot of answers for that, so let me go through that. While we're doing that, if that's all right, I'd like to get the first question out to you, if that is okay with you, Dennis, because we do have a lot of questions here, too. So you can go to the one. There you go. I love that one. Okay, first question came to us from Eric, and he says, isn't removing reviews a bad thing? Shouldn't you respond to a negative review instead of trying to remove it? I think you said before that there was a way to remove it. I think it's great, but I mean, what is the right way to go about it, Dennis?
Great point, and I'm glad he said that. We actually, best practices on our side, we monitor all software is collected in the back end, and then any negative review, we contact the dealership. And we respond to all positives, but we contact the negative people at the dealership and discuss a strategy to communicate with a negative review. Now, some negative reviews come in anonymous, and there's no way to find out. You try to reach out to them, and it's there. Some of them are coming from erroneous sources that you can't get any responses to, and some of those are legitimate aspects of customers that had a difficult challenge or experience at the dealership and you want to turn around. The best thing in the world is to do exactly what you said, is to make them a raving fan and happy. If and when we do that, then we win on a double-edged sword. There's another aspect is that you want things to be somewhat believable, and you want to be able to have some reviews in there that people are neutral. Otherwise, people will say, I don't buy it. But the truth is that, you know, there is a certain element that brings down our scores at a dealership that can be removed because either they're inappropriate or they're personal in nature, or somebody got terminated, or somebody went to go work at a competing dealership and they're jealous. And when you can't get through to somebody and you can't turn them around and they won't engage with you, that certainly is one of the ones that we try to chip away at a dealership. So if we can't make them happy, then let's try to eventually get them taken down. Yeah, of course, you've always got the people that says, if you don't give me a set of fleet formats, I'm going to write a bad review. And, of course, we're not going to engage that. You give them a bad review, and then we got to take it down. So.
Right. Okay, well, Eric, I hope that helps you out and answers your question. And Dennis, thank you so much for that. Okay, next question comes to us from Eunice. And Eunice asks, how do you go about getting a review to stick on our Google listing? That's interesting. And you know what?
So,
while we're on that, I'm going to just throw in there that Bill also wrote in, and he said, our biggest problem with Google reviews is that our responses keep getting taken down, even though we believe we follow the guidelines. A number of negative reviews that were clearly written by the same customer, however, remain listed. So it sounds like Bill and Eunice kind of had the same problem, doesn't it?
Yeah, interesting event, and most of the time, and I don't know if this has been a consistent issue or not, but most of the time that experience has taken place, that they get reposted in a short period of time, unless for some reason Google determined that they were inappropriate or not right. And I'd like to know further about that. We do have communications with some people in the automotive team at Google, and unfortunately there's nobody in the Google side that's a car guy. You can walk through there and you certainly know that they're intelligent, they're sharp, but they don't know a whole lot about our business and what takes place on that side. So we're able to kind of communicate somewhat to the people in the car team and get some of those issues resolved. I'd like to know more about ones that are taken down, and that they permanently, or is this a temporary issue to that, because we can communicate for you for them or get you in touch with them maybe to try to get that fixed.
That would be great. And Eunice and Bill, you see Dennis's contact information on there. So don't be afraid to use it. All right, our next question comes to us from Scott. And I think this is a question that a lot of people have. I think this is a very, very common question. And Scott, you're brave enough to ask it. So does a customer have to have a Google account in order to write a Google review?
Absolutely. It's gone through 3 different phases. You first had to have a Google account, and then when Google removed all the reviews, May 30th of 2011, Buterator and the rest of them, and only held their own, then they opened it up shortly after that so that anybody could put in what their email address is. And then they went back full scale when they launched this new program to say that it does require it. But not only do they require today a Gmail account for you to sign up with and make one, but they also want your birth date, your gender, and your other email account. And I think that, the big quest is, again, to try to make this process legitimate. And that's why they're jumping and forcing people to go through more hoops to get that done. I think that's it's a little frustrating, but when you take your salespeople and you tell them the benefits of writing reviews and walking them through that process, they might be able to help customers by doing the same for them on that side.
I think you're absolutely right. And Scott definitely learned a lot, because he also answered the question that we have posed, which is, what did you learn today with an actionable item that you can take back to your dealership and install right away? And if you're ready to hear some of those responses, we'll get right to it. Are
Sure.
you ready? Okay, so we'll start with Scott, because he was one of the first people to answer. He says that a review does not have to be written with a Google account if we use a third-party vendor, but it does if you use it on Google Reviews, right?
Correct.
Okay. We have Chris, who wrote in that I'm not showing up on Google+, and also that online reviews are helpful. Okay, Sarah wrote in, I want to get the sales personnel invested in Google Plus reviews. I love that idea. Good one, Sarah. Eric wrote in, training salespeople on why getting online reviews are important to start gathering reviews. Excellent, Eric. We have Jennifer that wrote in, the word play for sales associates to actually ask for the reviews. Good one, Jen. That was a good one. And Ezra wrote in, to build a landing page for review links. That's a great idea. So there you go. We have lots of people that answered the question. Dennis?
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I kept them 2 minutes over my promise of a time frame, and they probably either have lunch or going to go to lunch. So I should help us move on to, I know your next speaker is great. This guy is hilarious. He's really funny, and you're going to love him, but I'll let you introduce him there, Ileana.
Oh, thank you so much, Dennis. So while I'm talking about this, you pick out who we should have had for winners, because I don't know. They were really, really good answers.
The first two are the ones we'll send it to.
Ah, the first two. Well, congratulations.
Maybe we'll send the rest of them something else. So when you get that to me, we'll do something else. The first two get the cars because we have to send them to them. So.
Okay, fabulous. So thank you so much, everyone, for participating, and you all had some really, really great responses. And, of course, we're coming up to the top of the hour. Actually, we might be past the top of the hour, but any questions that weren't answered during the time allotted are going to be answered by email later today. And I want to remind the audience, don't worry, we recorded this whole thing for you, and you can download a copy of today's webinar recording later today. Once I get it posted online, feel free to share it with friends and colleagues, and I'll also email you that link later this afternoon. And today's webinar is also going to be posted on dealeron.com/webinars within the next 24 hours. And when you go there, you can also see our upcoming webinar schedule and access any of our past webinars as well. And also, at the conclusion of today's webinar, you're going to receive a short survey. Please fill it out. We're always looking for great feedback from you. And today we're going to randomly select some winners from all the completed surveys to win some Google prizes as well. Invitations will be going out tomorrow for next week's webinar for essential social media strategies for your dealership. And yeah, Sean Raines, what a great guy. And let me tell you how good he is at educating. He just happens to be the executive director of Driving Sales University. So if you want to know more about your social media strategy and is it everything you want it to be? Because if it's not, then don't miss next week's presentation. It's going to be put on by your friends at Dealeron. And don't forget, our weekly webinars are held every Thursday, 12 noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. We have some really great webinar subjects planned for this year. But if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions regarding these webinars, please hunt me down. I am all over the internet. Find me, Eliana Raggio, okay? Or you can email me at eliana@dealeron.com. Thank you all so very much for spending this time with us today. Congratulations to our winners and, of course, to our participants. And we hope to see you all on a future webinar in our continuing education series. Thank you so much, Dennis. That was fabulous. And have a great day. See you next week.